Clutch Trucker filmed before a live and furry studio audience. Rusty, the world-famous meatball dog. Hey YouTube, Clutch Trucker here. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Clutch Trucker channel. Alright, main subject of today's video is how to eliminate or reduce the cost of road calls. That'll just freaking kill you as an owner-operator out here. So I've got some tips for you drivers on that. But first, I got to show you this because I'm parked here at the this little Roadie's Gas and Sip. All right, it's a truck stop. It's just larger than like a gas and sip would be, but it's a Roadie's truck stop, all-American, the County Line Travel Plaza. And as I'm getting parked, I look across to the building and I see this sign. That's funny. A sense of humor. I like it. And if you don't know what lot lizards are, I think you can kind of figure it out. Parking lot lizards. It's from the old days. When certain young females might make themselves available for company in a truck. I think that's pretty clear. All right, went to go pick up today at this Grain Millers in St. Ansgar, I don't know how you pronounce it, Iowa. Little tiny town. But they have this huge grain plant there. And boy, these guys have their crap together. I wish every place was like this. You pull up and you pull and there's signs, which drivers, as you know, so many times there's no signs, no addresses, nothing. There's signs saying pull onto the scale and hit the intercom button, and you do. And you look on the sign and it says, okay, hit the button to print out your weight ticket. Then proceed to door A for bulk, incoming. Door B for dry vans incoming. So you're like, okay. So I take my little ticket. It's got a barcode on it now. And right in front of me, then there's this building with two doors, and I went into to the B door, which is the one I'm supposed to go into. And you pull up to it, the door is open, and you drive in. And then the doors close behind you, and a guy comes up, and he says, give me your ticket, asks for your pickup number and information, puts that in the computer, and now that's tied to the barcode on the weight ticket. Meanwhile, a couple of guys open the trailer doors because they need to make sure your trailer is good enough. It's, clean, dry, no holes, blah, blah, blah. And I knew there were a few little pallet scraps left over in there from my last load I hadn't had a chance to clean out yet. But they check it out, they close the doors, make sure it's all good and there's no light coming through, blah, blah, blah. Then they sweep it out for you. I felt like Lewis Black. It's pretty freaking unbelievable. Okay, then the guy comes back up to the window, hands me back the weight ticket, and says, okay, now you got to take this ticket again and pull out of the building, go to the left, and aim for gate number 3. You hold the barcode under the scanner there, and the gate opens. You go back into door number 4. Do not open your doors on the trailer because it's one of those newer docks that they do that from the inside. So they'll load you, they'll get it all done, they'll close your doors, they'll seal it, they'll come out with your paperwork. You don't have to do anything else. Then, once they give you your paperwork, you scan the little barcode again on the outbound scale, and then the gate opens up, and you're good to go. And you sign your name on the screen on the outbound scale, so they have a copy with your signature. And then, of course, they've already given you the paperwork with their signatures on it. It's just amazing how quick and easy it was. I was in and out of that place in 1 hour. I mean, from the time I pulled on, got loaded, and got out of there, and that is nice. There is a downside, though. The load was listed as 43,000 pounds, 42.9 to be exact. And on the scale, on the way out, I was overgrossed by 400 pounds. I'm like, how can I be 80,400 pounds? Because I know I can take 44.6 with full tanks if it's loaded properly. So I'm like, well, that's weird. They must have lied about it or something. So then I had to go, at least I could crawl onto the scale a little bit and weigh my drive, or my steer axle, then my drives, then my trailers. You got to do the math and subtract to figure it out. It's not that hard to do. But my trailer was over by like 2,000 pounds. So I tried to slide the tandems once I got out of their gate, but of course I'm on snow and ice. Yeah, you can't slide the tandems like that. I found a Casey's in town nearby that had some dry pavement, or at least wet pavement, but it wasn't ice and snow, where I could slide them. And as I'm doing that, I see in my inside left rear trailer axle tire, there's this nice big old piece of shrapnel about this long in there. And I was thumping the tires, and the outside one gives me the good thunk. The inside one went duh. It had some air in it. It wasn't completely flat, but it was something I had to deal with. And that's what's leading me to this whole story. So, yep, got a flat tire I got to deal with. And now my trailer's loaded. And this is why I wanted to bring this up. Because I run duals. And if you don't know what that means the two tires next to each other on the axle on each side. That's where the 18-wheeler comes from. You've got 8 tires and wheels on your trailer. You've got 8 tires and wheels on drives on the 2 axles on the back of the truck, and then you've got your, of course, 2 steer tires for a total of 18. That's where the 18-wheeler comes from. Of course, a lot of these bigger trucks now run what's called super singles, which is where they just have the one wider tire in place of the 2 individual standard tires. And I don't run those for a very good reason, and today was a perfect example why. If you run the duals and one tire on that same side of that axle, like today, is going flat, and if it's not completely flat, and you can still roll down the road because the other tire is still holding the weight on that side of the axle. You know, you're kind of overstressing that tire a little bit, so as long as you don't have to go too far and you drive slower, you can do it without blowing the other tire. That's where super singles, if that goes down, that's all the weight on that side of that axle. You can't drive anywhere. You're stuck. You have to do a road call. And if you try to drive on it at all with a flat tire on one of those super singles, you're going to kill your wheel. And now you got to buy a wheel too. And those are expensive. And of course, they're almost twice as much as a wheel for just the standard size tires. That's why I don't run the duals, because you're stuck there. You're stuck in the water. You got to do a road call, and it's going to be expensive. They're going to bring out the tire that they have available, which is usually going to be the most expensive tire. So I had to do a road call once in the middle of Nebraska, in the middle of the night. And of course, the nearest TA, their shop was closed in Ogallala. So they had to send somebody all the way from the Alda location to come out to where I was. And that road call for one tire on the trailer, for them bringing out a new tire and putting it on my wheel for me and everything right there, and the distance and everything, $1,000. $1,000. $1,000. And that's where I swore I would never do that again, and I'd find another way to save some money. Now, if that had been a super single on that road call, that would have been more like $1,500 or more. One tire. So ever since then, I started trying to figure out a way to carry a fully inflated tire on a wheel with me. A couple, 3 Christmases ago, my wife paid for this great, this was her gift to me, this great tire rack, which is on the back of my truck here, behind the cab. It bolts down to the frame, and I can carry a fully inflated, on a wheel, tire, spare tire, ready to go. So at the worst case, if I have to do a road call, all I have to do is have them come out, spin the old tire off, spin the new one on. I take the old one with me, and I then replace it at my convenience when I want to pay for it, and pay for, you know, the amount I want to pay for the tire. I don't have to take the $500 Michelin because that's the only one they had. So I've done that ever since. And like I say, in running the duals alone, you can usually limp your way down to the nearest truck stop with a shop. And that's what I did today. I looked ahead. Closest Love's was like 80 miles down the road, down in Waterloo, with a shop. And so I just drove slow, drove about 50-55 miles an hour so I wouldn't heat up the tire too much. It was only 19 degrees outside, so that helped. So as long as you do that and drive carefully, and the other tire, like I say, hadn't fallen apart yet, wasn't shredding. It still had just a little bit of air in it, so it was able to stay on there with the other one, and I was able to limp it down to the shop so I didn't have to pay for a road call. This is why I run the duals. This is why I do it this way. And like I say, if I had to have them come out, the worst case is I'd have to pay for the distance mainly. But I was able to make it to the Loves. I scaled when I got there, because like I said earlier, I was over gross, and I was like, well, what's that all about? Well, as I was driving down there, it dawned on me, duh, Yes, with all the ice storm and everything, I was probably carrying about 2,000 pounds of ice on the truck and trailer. That's why I was over gross. Ice weighs a lot. And when it hadn't warmed up since I had that all thaw on the truck and trailer enough. So none of it had melted off. So yeah, I was carrying probably 2,000 pounds of ice. So after scaling, I went in. Luckily, they didn't have anybody else they were dealing with. I was able to back the trailer in. Their shop wasn't long enough to bring it all the way in, so I had to drop the trailer in there. So at least while it sat in there for almost an hour, a lot of the ice melted off the trailer. So I'm probably not over gross right now. The truck had to stay outside. And he said, well, I think maybe I can patch that one. And I'm due for drive tires, so I'm going to try to do that sometime within the next week. So I was up at the counter talking to the other guy about what they had available and what their prices were. And then he's walking me around in the shop area where they have all the tires, showing me the different ones he's got. And we hear this boom! And we're like, holy crap, what was that? We walk out in the main shop area, and the guy's like, well, yeah, I'm going to need that spare tire of yours. This one won't work. It blew up. Yeah. He had tried to patch it. It was in a place where he could patch it, and he said, yeah, I patched it, and I put it over here on the rack, and I was airing it back up, and the sidewall blew out on it. This is one of those retreads I got back in February, which would now be the previous year, and this is maybe why, I won't do the retreads again. We'll see. But, yeah, it blew apart. It blew itself apart. So luckily, I still had my spare, so I didn't have to buy a new tire from them. I just said, hey, it's right here, and it's on a wheel, ready to go. You just might have to air it up a little bit. So they were able to put that on. We flipped the broken tire, the blown out tire, back, still on the wheel, back onto the rack. And I'll take care of that when I have a chance. And what I'll probably do is, like I said, I'm shopping for drive tires right now. If I can get a good deal over the weekend on my way to Rhode Island, I'm going to get them done. And what I'm going to do is, my drive tires are in better shape than my trailer tires right now. My trailer tires, a lot of them are cupping, which means around the edges. You get these dips and grooves in there. And that's more typical with trailer tires anyway, but my drive tires are all wearing nice and even, and they both have about the same amount of depth on them. And you can be down to as little as 2/32 on a trailer tire, and my trailer tires now and my drive tires have about 9/32. But like I said, my drives are wearing better. But I need a little more teeth on the drives right now, especially for winter. So they're not serving me too good as drive tires anymore, but they would make great trailer tires. So when I get my new drives, I'm going to take my old drives and have them all put on the trailer, because the way those are cupping on the trailer right now, I've been getting some of that vibration. So I'd like to get rid of that. And this will kind of buy me a little more time before I really have to buy a whole other set of trailer tires. Another way I'm trying to save some money. Now back to as far as being overweight on the scale, I did rescale when I got down to the Loves, just to double check to see if I got it right. And I don't know if you can see right over here. This one didn't print very dark, but it does say on the trailer, or it does say 80,120 pounds gross. So it wasn't the 400 over when I got the load. Some of the ice had fallen off between there and Love's, and I burned up more fuel. That helped that. But you can see my trailer tires were at tandems 34,880. So I had to do some more adjustment. So I just adjusted them once and got it to work out where it should be. And so then I got the trailers down to 33,900, because you can be 34,000 on your trailer tandems, and you can be 34,000 on your drives, and I'm well below that on the drives. You can be only 12,000 on county roads and so forth in most states, but if you're on an interstate, you can actually be higher than that in every state. All right, and they usually don't bug you that much about the steers. But still, I'm a little over on the gross. If I can shake some more ice off, and maybe it warms up just enough. But now there's another freaking ice storm coming through. So the whole point of this video is by doing two things, I was able to save a lot of money today. And this is just overdoing this for a while and learning as you go. But if you can carry a fully inflated, on a wheel, spare tire, ready to go, like I say, if you have to do a road call, worst case now, all you got to do is pay for them to spin off your old one, spin the new one back on, and that's it. Okay, yeah, it's going to be more expensive than getting it to a shop on your own, and there's my second part of this whole story. If you can run duals, run duals. Don't run the super singles. Let the big companies and the fleets run the super singles and pay for those road calls. If it's your truck and you're doing it, you want to run the duals, because you can usually limp it to a shop yourself and avoid the road call altogether, like I did today. Like I say, I drove about 80 miles down the road on that almost completely flat tire, but because I had the other tire still in good shape next to that, bearing the weight on that side of the axle, I was able to limp it down the road and not have to pay for a road call at all. I just had to pay him once I got to the shop, and Love's is still a little more expensive than a TA would have been on that, but that was my closest option. So it was like $60 to get that done. And, you know, and the other guy almost blew himself up and everything in the process, but got it done. So I've got the bad tire now still on the wheel with me. So when I get my new drives, then all the drives will now become on the trailer, and I'll have them take the spare that was put on the trailer back off, and that'll go back in my rack behind the cab, and it'll be ready for the next time this happens, because it's gonna happen. You're gonna blow out trailer tires more than anything else, drivers. It just happens. You curb them, you catch debris on them more often. A lot of times there's crap towards the back of the dock, and especially if you have to push your tandems back before you back into a dock, you'll catch those nails and things in there. And that's what sucks, and that's why I don't spend a lot of money on trailer tires. Okay, if you watched my previous two videos all about the weather and the ice and the snow and the blood and blech, well, I made it over here to the Columbia City, Indiana Roadies All-American, and later on this morning there's supposed to be another ice storm coming through. It's that one that started way down in Texas where they got some snow last night, early this morning, whatever. So this is moving on up to the East Coast, of course, where I'm heading, and it's supposed to be, freezing rain again through this area, but only through like mid-afternoon. So I'm not leaving until tomorrow night again. I'm going to let everybody else crash into themselves and everything, and hopefully by the time I get out there, they've salted the road well enough and everything again, and it'll be overnight when I'm driving, and most of the traffic will be gone. You know, I'm trying to kind of plan it around the idiots and the morons and the bad weather. You got to do that. Plan around it as best you can, because you're going to hit the crap. So if you can not be in as much of the crap, that's the better way to go and the smart way to go. And that's what we're going to try to do. And then maybe over the weekend I might get some drives at the Sapp Brothers and Clearfield, Pennsylvania. I'm going to see what they have. If they don't have anything good, I'll wait till next part of next week and see what I can find. The ones they had at Love's, they didn't really have too good of deals. They had something that might work, but then they had one set of retreads that they still wanted more than I've seen for virgin tires. Another term in the industry, by the way, virgin tires means it's not a retread, it's a brand new tire. I would prefer to have virgin tires on the drives. I did retreads on my trailer, like I say, last February, but I really don't want to put retreads on the drives. I would never run retreads on the steers. As a matter of fact, I think it's illegal to do that, because that's the most important one, because you just have the two up front, and if they fail, you're off the road. So there you go. I hope that gave you some good information about how to, if you can't eliminate the road calls, at least try to get the amount you have to pay for them way down, right? I'm a big believer in those duals, baby. I wouldn't go to the super singles ever. So how about you, Rusty? He agrees. Hey, thanks for tuning in. As always, please subscribe. Please like and comment, if only if you would like to. You don't have to. Ring that bell for notifications so you get notified about the newest videos that are posted. Check out our Ko-fi and Patreon if you feel like supporting the channel. Don't forget Clutch Trucker at Instagram, Clutch Trucker at Twitter. I always have to think about it, because if they're tweets, it should be called Tweeter. That just irritates the living crap out of me. Anyway, as always, sniff that magic YouTube fairy dust. Clutch and Rusty, out. Hello, Wesley. Good work today. Most like to kill you in the morning.